Hi, I have a quick card I'm going to show you. My husband's home. He's in the pool. He has no idea I'm going to film. I have on like one of my stamp shirts. So sometimes, I like to look a little nicer even though you're just going to see my arms. But this is one of my stamp shirts that I can like wash my stamps on because it's an old sweatshirt. But I wanted to get this filmed so my camp girls can see it before they come. I am going to use the celebration set. I'm going to use two. This is the celebration set that you can get free with a $50 purchase. It's called All Adorned, and it was part of the celebration part 2, and it works with the Stamparatus. And then this one doesn't work with the Stamparatus, and it is actually part of the celebration coordination. So this one does cost, and you don't have to have the Stamparatus, but because I'm using the Stamparatus for the first part, it's all on here. And you may have seen this. I used the words when I made my Christmas reindeer card, and I used the wishes, and I used Christmas with it. Today I'm going to use the wishes, but it's going to be a birthday card, so it's going to say birthday wishes instead of Christmas wishes. I will tell you that the frog dies, which were part of the celebration coordination, have already sold out. So if there's anything in the celebration coordination line that you are in love with, or anything just generally that you're in love with, it's best now that we're getting towards the end of celebration that you not wait to place your orders, because I'd hate for you to be disappointed. So I am going to use, this is where I got my color combination from this ribbon. And it's one of the ones that's a duo, so it doesn't have the name on it. But I will put the name of it down below. I meant to look before I was going, but I'm trying to beat my husband getting in from the pool, because when he comes in, he'll make noise. But it's kind of a pink, and it has copper to it. So that was where I got my colors. And, I have we're doing 8 cards at camp. So some of them have to be fast. This is one of my fast cards. So I have the pink, I have some copper, and then I have shimmer white, which is my favorite of our neutral colors. So the stamping part goes super fast because we're using the Stamparatus. And this is what I wanted my stampers to see before they came, if they wanted to watch. So what I have done is I have some of our grid paper in here, and then I've marked this square right here. This is cut 3.5 by 3.5, and this little square will just fit in here. So you put it right up on the lines on both sides, stick the magnet, and first I'm going to do the borders. So what you do, I don't close my stamps all the way, and I already have some ink on my hand from when I did the prototype. I'm cleaning it all off. But I'm just going to ink this in the Blushing Bride. I like the Blushing Bride. It has a tinge of brown to it. So ink that up. And you can see I've got it on there, but that's okay. And I just keep a tissue. Some people use wet wipes, but I don't want to use wet wipes because at camp, the next person then, I don't want them to have a wet board. So you can see that's in the corner there. So then all you do is move your magnet and spin this around. The stamp set was designed, like I said, to go with the Stamparatus, so it fits perfectly. You can make your squares a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, kind of play around with the design element that it makes. It depends on the size of your square, kind of how these little pieces hook up together. And the nice thing is if you don't get ink everywhere, if you don't press everywhere, you just do it again, because it's on the Stamparatus, so you get more than one shot. But most of the time with the Stamparatus, it goes really well. So because these need to line up with each other, I'm just making sure as much as I can, especially with my head not straight over because I'm on camera, that it's going on the lines of my grid paper. And this is just shoved right up into the corner. So if you don't have the grid paper, that was a new release. If you already have the Stamparatus, there's new Stamparatus accessories, and the grid paper is one of them, and it's all cut. You get a whole pad of it, and it's cut to fit the Stamparatus. So it's all in a little stack, all glued together, so you can just rip them off as you need it, and one piece will last a long time. You get to see my ugly stamp shirt. It's not really ugly, it's just... It's an Old Navy sweatshirt. My daughter works there part-time, so she gets stuff on super deals. I sleep in a lot of Old Navy shirts. but I don't usually wear them out in public or on camera. Today's a special day. It's going to snow here, but today I did most of my, well, you know, for spring, March is always a funny month because it's still, as I said, going to snow, but it's St. Patrick's Day, and spring is on its way. So I took the Valentine decorations down, and I have like our green spring decorations up. And at least this year, Easter's not in March. So here we go. I'll show you this first part. So we've got the border. So now with the Stamparatus, the nice thing you get to do, put this back on here. Again, just on the straight lines of my grid paper. These magnets are super strong. I only ever use one at a time. I'm going to move that out of the way so I don't accidentally use the wrong color. Now I'm going to use Cajun Craze, which is the Stampin' Up! Version of copper. I'm just going to take my tissue. And when you're all done stamping, when you've used your Stamparatus, then just flip your plates off, take your stamps off, and then go run them under the sink. And that cleans them off. But now, for my next person that was used it at camp, it's not wet, and they don't have to mess with, or even, you know, for this next person who's going to use it, it's not slimy. You won't get your paper, your cardstock wet. So this is Cajun Craze. This is a tiny little stamp that's in here. I might have to move my magnet. Oh, it did pretty well. I'm going to move my magnet up to the corner, though, for the next one. I have these all lined up. And the way I lined it up was when I started, I laid my first stamp right there in the corner. And then you flip your plate over and you pick your stamp up that way. If you've not used oops, I moved my grid paper when I moved to my magnet. There we go. Get everything back lined up in there. And just before you press down, if you think you moved your paper. Oh, well, I put my magnet back where it shouldn't be again, but oh well. And you don't really even need your magnet for this part because you're just getting these little circles. And two of them are going to get covered up anyways, mostly. You'll see some hints of it. Oh, I put my magnet even in a worse spot. Because the magnet kind of just slows you down here. Put that up there. I don't need it for my words either because they're a one-time stamp. Okay, so there I've got my little designs. You can see those are all on there nice and neat. Rub that Cajun Craze off there. Okay, and then I'm going to swing my board this way. And now I've already put the word wishes and birthday on this way. And again, I've just got to line this back up into this and make sure since I moved my, yep, it's good. So I inked birthday in the Cajun Craze. And it's a really fine font, so you want to make sure you don't smush ink everywhere as much as you can. And then I have the big wishes, which it's stained a little green from my Christmas card. And then we also did this Christmas card at my demonstrator shoebox swap. So it's had a lot of Christmas wishes on it. So pop this over and then just press to make sure that you get both. Especially since I didn't put my magnet down. If you put your magnet down and you don't get them, then you would get a second shot. But because my magnet's there, oh, and I didn't get my S, so I'll hope that I can line it back up. That's the advantage to using your magnet. But I'm just going to ink my S. That will help. When you have the Stamparatus and you use it properly, then you can get a second shot with all of your stuff. So I'm just going to press where my S is. There we go. I got it even with the magnet. It helps with the grid paper because I did line it up where it was supposed to be. Okay, so that's all I need for my Blushing Bride. I couldn't remember which color I had. Okay, and then I'm going to flip my plate around one more time. So we've used all 4 sides of the plate, and you can also buy extra plates, so I have lots of plates. And then this has a shaded part for the wishes, which on my Christmas card I used 2 shades of green. This one, because I only have 2 colors on my card, I'm just going to use the Cajun Craze. And it gives a little bit of highlight to the second part of your wishes. And this time I'll make sure I press everywhere. So just press firmly. If you use the red rubber, you don't have to press quite as hard. The photopolymer, because it doesn't have the extra backing. So here is all of our stamping for this. And it's so pretty because it's on the shimmer paper. So hopefully you can see the shimmer. Then I am just going to take, oh, I guess I wasn't done with my Blushing Bride. I forgot. I have one more thing to do. But I am done with my Cajun Craze. I'm just going to use this for my scrap. I'll get some new paper out for camp. This is one of the other stamps that comes in the set. And I just want to fill some of my background up. You're not going to end up seeing much of it, but I thought it kind of helped my card. I needed one more thing, and I didn't know what one more thing to add to it with making it quick. So I'm just going to add some of this so it'll show over the edge. And I'm going to put almost a whole, a 4 by 5 1/4 panel over it, so you know you don't see very much. But the card kind of has that Victorian feel. My grandma would have liked this card. So when you see the card, when you saw it on the little YouTube thumbnail, you probably already think of somebody in mind who likes this style of card. But it has a Victorian feel, and just the plain paper underneath it just felt a little empty to me. So that just kind of fills it up. You don't have to do a perfect job because not a lot of it's going to show. But then while I had it inked, I went ahead and just added one little hint of this in here. That way the inside's just pretty as well. So now I'm done with that. I'm done with my Stamparatus. I'll move that out of the way. You want to be careful when you have both plates on that you don't close that lid. So don't do what I'm doing. Do as I say, not as I'm doing. I have our little corner rounder. I'm going to stick all of my corners in here. And I do want to show you, I want you to pay attention before this is fast. It's just one of those things, you know, that when you're doing it and you're also talking, I want to make sure that I get them all in there. Because if you do it just a little bit off, you don't have a pretty nice round corner, you have a mess. But I do want to show you how this looks. It's pretty, but it's so square. That was where I started, because I thought this just is kind of square, because it is a square. But when you take the corners off, again, it just is so much prettier, I think. It just makes it more of a medallion style as opposed to a square. So see the top from the bottom? Here comes my husband. There was our alarm. So it just takes those off, the rough edges. It's not something, you don't try to cut it because you'll never get them perfect. But with this, you can. So there's that. And then I'm going to do one more piece. Almost done with this card. I told you it was fast. Super easy. This is our copper foil paper. It's one of my favorites because copper is my favorite color. It was always my favorite metallic until rose gold was a color. And I kind of go for both. I take these, and then if you watch, well, I don't know which one I'll post first. This is the second video I've made today. I'd made a list of all of the things that I needed to use for Celebration at Camp, and the one last thing that I hadn't used yet was our new folder. So it's getting put on here too, just because I haven't used it. It's beautiful with the foil. And you want to remember when you're using something where there is a front and a back that Stampin' Up! Is the front. So just lay this in here. It just takes one plate and just go one time through, otherwise you might rip the paper because it's a super thick plate. I mean folder. Is that not beautiful? You could just give a card practically like that. And go back to the ribbon that I started the whole color scheme with. And this was because I like big ribbons, and when I made my prototype, I used a giant piece, and then I was like, yeah, you don't need that much ribbon. So I cut it, and this is how much spare I had after I readjusted my ribbon. And I also wanted to use the tulle. The vanilla tulle ribbon would be beautiful on this card, but it's already on the lilies that I'm making, and they're already downstairs ready for camp. So there's no tulle on this, even though it would be beautiful. If you were doing a wedding wishes card, the tulle would be a necessity. For a birthday card, we're just going to go without it. So now we just have to stick it together and we're done. So put my copper here, and I'll show you what I mean. Here it is. It just looks kind of empty on that, and then with this behind it, it just kind of fills, you don't, even though you don't see very much of it, it kind of fills that pink space up. And I'm just going to take a little strip of snail right through that middle. Lay my ribbon on here and kind of position it where you want. Just like that. Even then, this is the spare ribbon that I had, and even now it's still a little bit too long. So just trim that off. My husband went back outside. I hear the pool closing. I am not going to into the pool today. You know, it's one of those day before camp things. It doesn't happen. Sometimes in the summer, not in the winter. And there you go. Super pretty, very vintage, very, like my grandma needs this card. My grandma's no longer living, so in my head, although her birthday is in April, she would have loved the card. She loved all the cards I made her. But super fast. Gives you, a lot of times when we use the Stamparatus, like I said at my camps, it's because the card's hard and we need it to place. So this will give them a chance to finally use the Stamparatus just for a card that is fun to use the Stamparatus. So I hope you enjoy that. Remember, if there's any celebration stuff that you are in love with, get it today. Get it as soon as you're ready to get it. Otherwise, you run the risk of it running out. And I don't want that to happen to you because this stuff's so much fun. And if you need it, you need it. Have a great day. Bye.